sure. Okay, good evening, everyone out there, and welcome to Light Bearers, the podcast that likes to share positivity in an age of doom and gloom. So we're gonna rock and roll today. We have here brother K Ola. All right, how you doing, Kay?
I'm doing good today. Yourself?
Great and pretty good. And as we mentioned before, I am out here in Japan. Kaola is out in England, and our special guest today is Boon. Introduce yourself, Boon, and tell us where you're from.
Hi, my name is Boonsiri Somchit. That's my maiden name, and Ong. Oh, my husband just turned on the lights, so now you can see me. Ong is my married name. So I am actually from Malaysia. I actually live in Penang on an island. All right. Yeah, it's a really beautiful island, by the way. And I haven't seen the sea for almost like 2 years. Okay. So yeah, so that's where I'm from. Yes.
So it's interesting that you said, because I mean, even though I've traveled to many places, the world is so big yet so small. But it's really nice now that we have this technology and we can use it in a positive way by reaching out to each other and sharing actual live information, not the stuff we get from the news that is meant to distract us and make us angry, but real good information. And so I'd like to learn a little bit more. I'm interested, both Kay and I are both interested in hearing about that little island. So how large is it? About what is the population? Because you say you live in a small island, but you haven't seen the sea. So exactly how big is this island?
No, I haven't seen the sea for a long time because of the lockdown and because of COVID. So we've pretty much stayed at home because in Malaysia, the number of, number of cases have been going up. Yeah, the lockdown has been eased. People can go out now and all that. Unfortunately, when people go out, some don't really follow the rules, right? We need to mask up and all that. And so that's the reason why I haven't actually gone out very much. I've only gone to do like the essential stuff like groceries and, things that I need to do and then come home after that. So I think it'll take a while before we kind of get over the fear and go back to being normal again.
Yeah, you just said it right there, the fear. Everybody's walking around in a condom or bubble wrap like, I'm gonna get sick. What do you think about this what Boone's talking about? She just mentioned that the fear, and any questions you have to ask her about her little tiny island.
Yeah, it goes back to what we discussed in our last podcast about fear and how it tenses people up and it stops them from doing what they want to do. So for instance, now because of the fear, she hasn't seen in a long time, like she said, and I'm sure she would love to see the sea. I'm sure it was part of her daily life, but fear has a way of stopping us from doing what we want to do. And what I wanted to ask her, so what's the population of this island of yours?
Oh, I have to Google it because I don't remember. Okay.
That's great.
There must be a lot of people then.
No. We're not that big. This is Georgetown. Just give me a second.
Yeah, it's like computers now have enabled us into idiocy. It's kind of like when we're messaging text, they're all constantly checking your spelling and correcting it, even when you don't want to write it like that. And so a bunch of people are actually forgetting how to spell, how to add, because computers do everything for us. And so now we don't feel like we need to learn any information. We just, wait, hold on, let me just Google it. I'm guilty of the same thing too. But now
the population is about 2 million people.
2 million people?
Yes, but we actually have the island and we have the mainland, right? Most people stay on the island because island living is a little bit nicer, right? Yeah. It's very strange because we are just connected by a bridge and we actually call the people on the mainland, we call them as if they are from another country.
Of course.
From another country.
Everybody everybody wants to feel special sometimes, you know.
So they're like from another country, and we're like, so it's about 2 million people, and the size of the island is about 405 square miles.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite big.
Well, yeah, it's probably like about the size of Okinawa, mate.
Well, I don't really know.
It's about a similarity. Japan has Okinawa, and it's the same thing because Okinawa actually was a separate country, and so Japan took Okinawa as the states took Hawaii. There are parallels right there, kind of like similar situations. So the people from Okinawa, even though it's Japan now, they call the people from the mainlanders. You're from another country. You know what I mean? So.
No, so it looks like it doesn't matter what country you're from. You still have that same mentality.
Yeah, of course, because everybody wants to be special. Do you have anything going like that in man, you got Nigeria, there you go. Anything going like that in Nigeria?
A lot of stuff like that in Nigeria.
Okay.
In Nigeria, so many different tribes. So we've got people that are from Nigeria and they speak a language that I don't even understand, and the people from this tribe believe, people from this tribe are from another planet, and vice versa. So it goes on there as well.
Yeah. No, that's great. Real quick, Boon, before I forget, because you're talking about like once people get the fear away, but you say you miss the ocean. Have you ever just gone on a ninja mission in the middle of the night and said, forget all this nonsense, I'm gonna go see the beach at midnight?
Oh no, I think I value my sleep.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. As we get older, because I'm 50, I notice like if I don't go to sleep at a certain time, like at least the latest 11, the next day I'm going to feel just horrific.
Yeah.
I need that extra sleep. Otherwise, I'm walking around like with the lip drooping or something like that.
It's very strange. Oh, go ahead, Kay.
I'm so sorry. Carry on, Boone.
So it's very strange that when we were younger, I kind of remember when Tony and I were dating. Tony's my husband, and we would go out to, at my time, there was the discos, right? And we would go out to the discos by the ocean, by the beach, and we would be out like the whole night. And then we would go to the stalls and have food, and then we go home, get an hour of sleep, and then go to the office. And we could survive like that for weeks. And right now, if you ask me to go out after 9 o'clock, I'm going to tell you, sorry for you when you're on your own.
You're speaking some nonsense. It's like, dude, if I were to have like 2 beers tonight, it takes me 2 days to recover from that. So I just don't have the beers anymore. It's okay. I'm done with that, So
would you guys say that exercise has a part to play with increasing your energy levels?
Definitely. I mean, on my part, if I don't exercise, one of the doctors in Japan told me, you're the kind of person that if you have a sedentary job, you're like a shark. Once you stop moving, you're going to die. And so I crave physical activity. And if I don't exercise, my energy levels decrease. I produce less hormones. I get cranky. So exercise, the reason for, especially for us, because as we get older, we don't produce the same level of hormones, and hormones are designed to repair your body for growth. And so what stimulates that as we get older, which also stimulate energy, is exercise, So anyway, go ahead and ask some questions.
You can ask me anything.
Yes, Boone. So obviously we all met from the Bull Worker group.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know what got you into the Bull Worker. How did you find it?
All right. So how did I find the Bull Worker? Okay. So I got to tell you a little bit of story here. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So my husband is into business, and actually we run our own company, right? And I left my corporate job to join him. But he's always thinking of something, always, And so he was in Singapore. So one of our daughters actually had cancer, and our youngest one, and she went through chemo and everything. That was in like 2018. Okay. Yeah. So she got through her chemo, and then the doctor recommended that she do a bone marrow transplant.
Okay.
And so we actually decided to do it in Singapore.
So did she have leukemia?
Yes.
Okay.
So the doctor actually recommended that we do it in Singapore. Or rather, we wanted to do it in Singapore. And
Okay.
for our own reasons, we decided to. I guess because the doctor that we spoke to in Malaysia, all he cared about was the money. You know,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, there you go.
All right. Because he didn't even allow us to ask too many questions. He's like, most people only ask about the money, but you guys are asking too many questions. So we decided that we would go to a doctor who really cared about our daughter and not, and would answer the 30 questions that we have.
Well, the thing is that, and I'll let you continue, is that when you keep people in mystery, and they take your ability to take charge of not only your health, your soul, your physicality, your mind, and they leave it to a special group of people. Again, you're easily controlled. Oh yeah, give me your money. And it's not to say that you are a doctor, but we are all also part of that healing process. And part of that is asking questions. So it's kind of like the priest. Well, what do you mean? Well, where does God live? Well, I can't tell you that. All I can say is I can talk to God for you. And you're always going to have these so-called masters keeping us at mercy because they hold things in secret. But anyway, continue.
So, so the lucky thing for us, which was extremely lucky, was that my eldest, so I have 3 daughters. My eldest daughter did, so the doctor actually did the bone marrow test to see if they can match. And the 2 siblings, the elder sibling matched 100%.
Okay.
So which the doctor says is actually very rare.
Okay.
To find 100% match. And so we decided to do it in Singapore, and the eldest, my eldest daughter was the donor. And then so I was taking care of her for a while when she was doing it. And then Tony went down, and then he got stuck there for almost forever because of COVID.
Okay.
And then so both of them couldn't come back, right? So they just came home this year after Chinese New Year, which is like February.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you that when they were away, I didn't really take care of myself because, you're worried about your spouse who's there, your daughter who's there, you can't go there, and it's all this stress.
Yeah.
And that's how it got me into painting.
Okay.
So during that time, it wasn't just painting, I renovated my whole house. I think I had to find an outlet.
Yes.
All right. I needed to find an outlet. And for me, my outlet it wasn't enough that it was work, because I was still working. I mean, I do training and development and consulting. I was still doing that, but it wasn't enough. Because, it's like, Giovanni, you do teaching, right? Do you teach every day? You don't, right?
Yeah, but that's not, for me, it's just work. And so for me, what you're talking about outlet, and correct me if I'm wrong there, Kay, is that we're not just work machines. When it becomes what we see as work in this society, which is, for example, art is no longer art unless you're a professional. It becomes a trade where you're exchanging it for something monetary or material, instead of learning something from it and developing yourself as a human being through art. The money aspect takes away the essence and the beauty of it. So that's why we look for things that are called hobbies.
Yeah.
It's expression.
Yeah.
We need to express ourselves. Sometimes when it's just work, you're doing that for monetary gain. So that requires a certain level of obligation.
Yeah.
But when it comes to something that you do yourself, it's a pure, authentic expression.
Yes, very good.
So for me, because he couldn't come back and I couldn't go, and and there was some medical complications, and we're very blessed and very thankful. I think we had friends praying for her who were Hindus, we had Buddhists, we had the Catholic Church. We had so many churches. I mean, we had friends of all different faiths, and they were all praying for her. And some would even call and pray, when she was in the hospital and all that. And I think I truly believe, whatever religion
helps.
And in fact, she was also very positive. She was only 18 when she got it, 17. She turns 20 this year. So she's kind of lost 3 years of her life, and of course, COVID didn't help. So now she's back in university, but at home. We can't send her overseas yet.
Okay.
Because of all this situation. So, I found my outlet. I did exercise, but I didn't do a good job, and and like you said, when you don't exercise as much as you used to, you feel sluggish, you don't really like yourself very much. I went for my medical checkup and the doctor said you've got osteoporosis.
Osteoporosis.
You have to take care of yourself because I'm almost 60 years old. I mean, I'm like,
you're not looking you're looking fit and supreme.
I'm gonna be 60 kind of thing. Right. So so when Tony was in Singapore, he started looking at, hey, what other business can we do? And he found Bullworker. And then he's like, do you want to be the distributor of Bullworker in Malaysia and Singapore? And I'm like, I really don't care. Do whatever you want. Because, I've got my painting, I got my house, I got to figure out my house. Do you know how much work it is to renovate the house during COVID?
A lot of work.
Yeah. So, and then I had to remodel my garden on my own.
Wow.
And, people are like, wow, you did this on your own. People were like amazed, right? Because even though I was working, I found time to do all that, But I guess, honestly, that was exercise.
Yes.
Because I was carrying stones and pots and, that was my form of exercise. Because after doing that, I went for another medical checkup and the doctor said, what did you do? Because you don't have osteoporosis anymore. Like,
Right. And I'll stop there for a minute and we'll give some input on that. And that's something that I truly believe, there is no 100% cure for anything. And we all leave this planet. No one checks out alive. And that's just part of our reality. And there's a beauty in it. So we learn to really value, hopefully, our lives a little bit more. But our bodies are a lot more powerful than people believe. If you give the proper things to your body, whether it be activity, nutrition, your body can bounce back from some amazing things unless you just took it to the point of no return. But this body can take a lot. What are your views on that, Kay? Tell us a little bit about that.
Body is very adaptable. And without me going into a story, you've seen all the things that I've come through in terms of my doctor told me I would never walk again. They've told me I will never exercise again. They told me that my bent spine will never straighten up again. But through exercise, positive thinking, and putting, like you said, the right things into your body, nutrition, exercise, peace of mind, I've achieved things that my doctor said were impossible.
And look at you. Well, okay, Boone. So here you go back to the doctor. You've been carrying stones, rearranging the castle, and then you go back to the doctor. They give you a blood test. They're like, well, what the hell have you been doing, woman? So take it from there. What'd you tell that doctor?
I said, I haven't really been exercising. I mean, I'm being honest because I used to do a lot more, but the gyms were closed, right?
Yes.
I dare not go out walking because people were not wearing their masks and all that. And, and I have my in-laws with me, they're in their 80s. So I have to be very careful. So, so the only thing was carrying stones, carrying pots, planting plants, digging holes, all the things that you do as a gardener, And I think it's also the vitamin D because I was out there in the sun.
Exactly. So imagine keeping everybody indoors and not breathing and not get any physical activity. See, the gyms are just there to design, or exercise is there to mimic a physically active life that we used to have back in the days. In the old days,
Yes.
human beings didn't go to no gym. They lifted stones and carried stuff all day, and so they got strong. They're outside, you know.
Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead, Kay, you were saying.
Go
Yeah,
ahead. Kay.
what he was saying, like people used to work,
Mm.
they used to do things physically. What they did physically on a daily basis was enough exercise to sustain them.
Mm.
Now, you live more sedentary lives. That's why they have to make gyms,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
And they
So,
cost a fortune.
Yeah.
because people know, there you go, the gurus again. We have the secret, but here comes along something as simple as you lifting stones and going outside. You thought you weren't exercising. In reality, you were actually getting the proper physical activity, getting the nutrition and life from the sun. And then suddenly your husband is like, hey dude, look what I found.
Yes. So he comes, so this is the deal, right? He's in Singapore, and a whole lot of container containing bull worker, like, I don't know, like a couple of hundred of them or whatever, comes to my office, and me and my daughter has to carry every single one of them out, right? And the thing is, and I have to be honest, right? I never opened them till he got home. Okay. Yeah, because I didn't know what they were. Never heard of them before.
Wouldn't have known what they were anyway.
Yeah, you know. And the only thing I know was they were made the year I was born. So so we are like, we are related, right? So that's about it. But other than that, I had no clue. So I waited for him to come home, and then he showed me this ISO ball. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, this little thing, like, does it really work? Because I'm so used going to the gym, the machines, I had trainers, I hired my own personal trainer and this and that. And now you're asking me to trust in a piece of like 2 pieces of, whatever. Yeah. And he said, you have to give it a try. And that's how we started the 90-day challenge. And actually, it was my daughter that forced us to do this, because she and her dad, they're running that business. I'm staying out of it, I'm just enjoying myself using it, right? So, and then they catch me to become the model for this. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You're getting an old lady to model your bull worker, So, well, they say, well, if at your age you can do it, everybody can do it, right?
And that's the thing, going back to how long are we really meant to live, if we keep active. It's not to say that, like, I never say like, oh, I'm 50 years young. No, I'm 50 years old, and there's nothing wrong with being old, but it's what kind of quality of life that we live as we get older. Because I still skateboard, I still go out and have fun, and it's okay to be 50 or 60, but we can still achieve things if we keep that machine going. And going back to your talking, like this thing, are you kidding me? But and now you see that the power is really inside you, that it can be really simple, and you don't need all this complicated things. And that, I think, applies, Kay, it applies in many different aspects of life. Give me some views on that, Kay, on how little things like that are transcendent to other aspects of life. Life is not that complicated.
Look at example, and this goes in a lot of holy books. The mustard seed. The kingdom, when they say the kingdom of God is like a mustard seed, very tiny. It's one of the smallest seeds, but when you put it into the ground, it becomes a tree and a shelter for the birds, for all the animals. So something so little can become something so powerful. That should show you what is inside you. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Everything inside you is what's outside. They say the kingdom is outside and it's inside. So everything outside is also going on inside your body. You understand?
Yeah.
So little things is all you need. You don't need all these big fancy equipment. You need to go to the gym and start pulling trucks. The power is within you. When you start to understand who you are, you will know how to harness this energy.
And it's all about positivity. It's all about your brain, your mind,
Yes.
and how you think. I mean, if
Yeah.
I start thinking, oh, I'm old, you're gonna be old. But if I think that I can do anything, I can bulwark, I can run faster than a 20-year-old, and and you know what? I can. Okay.
Yes.
So, but it's all in your head.
Well,
And the problem is this: a lot of people are afraid to try because they're worried what society is going to think of them. And to
yes.
me, is to hell with society. It's my life.
Yes.
But
And go ahead, Kay.
But then that's what makes, you see, when your husband made you the model of the bulwark of business he's running, I think he knows what he was doing. Because at the end of the day, when people see someone at your age being able to do the things you're doing and showing yourself exercising, that really inspires people.
But the
'Cause a
problem,
lot-
okay, is people don't know how old I am.
Oh, that's true.
How you guys know?
Yes, it's true, because I wouldn't have known it until you said it.
Yeah.
But even just seeing a lady, in the Bullworker group is all male driven,
Yes.
all the videos. So when we see a lady come in using the Bullworker, that's inspiring. It's showing us that it's not just men that can use this.
Yeah.
Well, it inspires us too, because there's so much nowadays that just showing like, oh, the first woman president, the first Black woman, a woman did it. How about we're just brothers and sisters and we're just people?
That's
And
true.
that's what's inspired me, is that you came on and you weren't saying, oh, well, I'm the woman and hear me roar and I'm gonna make space. You're just like, hey, I'm exercising. This works really well for our family.
And for
And
me is you guys are like my walking encyclopedia. Like, I'm gonna do this. Does it work? You know how to do this? Can because you've done it. Why would I be dumb enough to go and reinvent the wheel when other people have done it? Right?
You can put more air in the wheel though, because sometimes my wheel goes flat.
but look at Paul, look at Duke, look at all those guys. I mean,
yes,
they come up with their own routine,
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
Well, that comes through years of experience. Like I've been training since I was a little boy with my dad since I was about 8. So physical activity has always been very important in my dad's life. And so I adapted that to myself, and it just became a lifestyle. It's something that I can't live without it. And but I think there's a point that I want to go back to what Brother K was talking about, the mustard seed and something so simple. And then you talked about, people are afraid to try new things. But here we go. Now I'm regressing. The positivity part. And it's really interesting that now it's a generation like ours that actually it was even harder for us in the old days, as we didn't have all these positive or these great advancements in medicine and technology. We still didn't come from the dark ages, but compared to now, life was a little bit harder even in my generation. I'm 50 years old, and it wasn't easy. I mean, I remember seeing the first color TV, and one of my neighbors had it in the neighborhood, and everybody's looking out the window like, like, whoa. And the first show that they put was Star Trek. And Star Trek was very colorful with all the reds. And we're like, wow, look at this. I remember seeing the space shuttle go up for the first time. We had a black and white TV even in the 80s in Colombia, and so now the population, the generation now has become so negative and cynical, and it's just spreading. But it's become a disease, and it's easy to control people that way. And you're talking about the positivity. It's not just physically, but the way that you set the mindset, because wherever your mind goes, okay, as a boxer, if I go like this, wherever their head goes, that's where the body goes.
That's
Go ahead,
right.
talk a little bit more about that mindset. You're talking about society and stuff like that. I want to hear a little bit, you expound a little bit more on that, because as you get older, you want to try these new things. What do you think it is that as we get older, we just say, hey, I don't give a fuck, I'm going to jump out this plane?
Well, I think as you get older, you learn a lot, you used to worry about a lot of things like how you look, and all that. I remember like when I was a lot younger, I used to color my hair all the time. And then I decided, you know what? Gray is a color.
Yeah, it is a color.
You
Is
know,
a color.
gray is a color. So I decided, you know what? You can say I've got gray hair. You know what? I've lived through all these experiences that you are going to live through one of these days, And
Yeah,
so
you
why
earned
am I
the,
going to have to be ashamed of it?
yeah,
right?
you earned the stripes.
I earned the stripes, man.
Yeah, we
Okay.
earned those stripes.
Yes, man. So the thing is this, why do I want to hide it? So and the thing is, I mean, I I grew up in an Asian society, and you know how Asians are, and
Yeah.
it's still a little bit, sometimes I still think it's a little bit backward.
Yeah.
Because-
They're still in Plato's Republic's cave, where they lived in a cave and they're looking like at the shadows, but there's actually a sun outside.
Because, like they sometimes they still think a woman's place is this, a woman's place is that, kind of thing. Maybe a lot more in Japan, maybe.
We have that here. It's changing a little bit, but it's still this is 2,000-year-old society.
Yeah, and
And
it's all thinking. I don't know about Nigeria.
Yes, in Nigeria, they still have that kind of mentality where the man is above, he's the head of the family.
So
But
you have to just get over it and do what you need to do.
yeah. Well, I mean, okay. When you're talking about the head, for example, okay, my head is the head of my body, but there's no ego in it. But my head cannot live without my heart, and the heart is just as important. It's got a different position, but it doesn't mean because the heart's down here that the head's so awesome. No, if this thing down here explodes, this head's gonna go like this, right? So just because the man, for somehow in nature, not in all parts, but in most animals that are, let's say, like mammals and most species, the male has a certain role and is considered as not so much as, oh, I'm so awesome. That's more as a way of thinking, but nature chooses right. And position doesn't mean supremacy. It is the corruption that comes through the ego, through people's desire of power, not position. Position in harmony with nature is different than lust for power. And yeah, Japan is still like that. Colombia still has that. And so you have the few idiots that, walk around like.
my belief on that is that there's a saying that if two make peace within a house, if they tell a mountain to move, the mountain will move. Within a house, you got the husband and the wife. If two make peace, for the two to make peace, there cannot be no supremacy. They have to be equals.
Exactly.
So there can't be a man or woman where two people, when you see the male as female and you see the female as male, and we can both blend together, that's when you make peace. And any mountain to move will move.
Yeah, well, you accept the natural harmony of life. The sun is on top. It's it. That's the sun. But what would the sun be without the planets? What would the sun shine on? Do you know what I mean? So just because the planets are done, there's just a harmony, and we accept what we are without ego or feeling bad. Like that's
supremacy. There's no supremacy. There's no hierarchy. We're all one family under the sun.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Well, Boon, I've also been, by checking out, through Bullworker, we've all become like this. We've become friends, many friends on Facebook. But me being a musician, I also like drawing. I write poetry, short stories. I'm really into art, and I think there's a beauty that art gives. It's an expression of the human soul. And I was checking out your paintings and saw that you actually haven't been doing it that long, and it's going back to, like, it's never too late. Talk a little bit about your art, what it means to you, and what place does that art have in the world and for human beings, and what it can be used for, and for those interested in embarking on that, where they hear like, oh, you're too late, whatever. What advice do you have for people who want to embark on the painting journey?
I think it's never too late to try anything at all. All right. Because, you can always try it out. And if you like it, you continue to do it until you get better and better and better at it. If you don't, you can always stop and try something else, but you at least have to try, right? So for me remember I said I had to have an outlet. And so it all started with me, because Tony wasn't here. And so at night, I would sometimes just go through YouTube and I would watch Bob Ross, I would watch Bob Ross and I would watch all these YouTube channels and all their painting. And as I watch it, I kept asking myself, do you think maybe I can do this? I just asked myself that maybe I can do this. And I'm going to tell you, it was pretty scary for me to start because, when I was in school, my art teacher actually told me never ever paint because your painting is terrible. Okay.
That's the worst thing you can tell people. But anyway, our parents were old fashioned. Oh, you saw.
This was my teacher. This wasn't even my parents.
Yeah, teachers too.
Okay, so, your painting is terrible. Okay. But what I found out was my painting was terrible because it was the wrong medium.
Okay, expound on that.
When I was in school, I used watercolor. Okay. And then when I watch on YouTube, they use acrylic. Okay. So I decided I'm gonna follow acrylic paint. Sorry, say again?
Acrylic, is that like oil-based paint?
No. It's slightly different. This one, it dries a little bit faster. Okay. Yeah. So it was acrylic. So I bought my first acrylic paint. I only bought like 4 colors because I wasn't sure whether I'm going to make it. And I bought like 2 or 3 canvas and a couple of brushes. Okay. This is my first painting. Ta-da!
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. So for me, it takes me to, because I really love nature. I grew up in the mountains, and that for me is very peaceful, and it really takes me somewhere. My mind has like a weird mystical imagination.
Honest, for somebody that you're saying has just started drawing, that is a beautiful piece there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this piece, I'm a BTS fan. I don't know if you guys know BTS, by the way. BTS is like a boy band from Korea.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, it sounds like a disease.
No, hey, it's a very famous boy band, by the way. So
Yeah.
I'm one of the army members because I kind of listen to all their songs.
Yeah, an army member.
Okay, okay.
So
So
is that painting?
Sorry, say again.
Your first attempt at painting?
Yes. This one. So so BTS came out with this song during the COVID that's called Blue and Gray. And it's blue and gray because some of the band members were going through kind of like a hard time.
Yeah, it speaks that. There's a certain solitude and gloominess in the background, the shadow. But somehow the blue, for me, it's kind of like a respite, a rest, or some kind of hope that there's still beauty in that darkness.
And then the moon there, right? So there's hope, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because the moon shines on the blue, and the blue, like it brightens up the whole picture.
Yes.
Okay. So I painted this, right? And I posted it on Facebook thinking that people will laugh at me because this is like terrible. And instead, some people wanted to buy this.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I would have that in my house.
Okay.
No problem. It's awesome.
So anyway, and someone said, how did you paint the tree? And I didn't even know how to paint. I'm like, just doing this, right? So I painted this, all right. Then I started getting more confident. And sometimes social media does help. Okay. So then I started painting more. And then I decided, if people want to buy my painting, you know what? Maybe I should sell some. So I decided that I was going to sell some of my painting and paint for a purpose and give that money to charity, which is what I did.
Lovely.
That's awesome.
Okay. So, and then, okay, as I went on and I started painting, and then it got more and more and more, to the point that when my husband came and Tony came back from Singapore, he's like, why are all these paintings on the floor?
You had like a gallery.
Yeah, all over the place, right? And he's like, why are the paintings on the floor? They're not even framed. Okay. And I'm like, why would I frame them? You know, I just keep painting, right? So why would I want to frame them? And he's like, no, we're going to frame this. So he took it to the framer with me and we got it framed, and now it's hanging on my wall. And the number of paintings are adding up. And if you can see, this is my bedroom. Do you see that? That's the elephant that I painted for our 30th wedding anniversary.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's hanging here, and we got that one frame. And
you
then
got
recently I had to redo.
How about those birds in the background?
Oh no, those are from Bali. No, I can't do that. That's too beautiful. Maybe the next time.
Yeah, you can. Don't say that. You've done some pretty stuff.
The next time. Okay. And so recently my sister got crazy about one of my paintings. All right.
Mhm.
So I've been painting for my sister. Okay, one of the things I have to tell you. So I sold some of the paintings, and I found that I didn't enjoy painting when I want to sell them.
Right? Wasn't I talking about that? It becomes now a duty, an exchange for money instead of the actual payment is that satisfaction in the creation.
Correct. And you know, when you want to sell your painting, people are kind of like giving you directions and all that. Oh, I want this here and want that there. And I'm like,
Yes.
and I'm very terrible because I can always say, hello, why don't you just paint it yourself?
Yeah, that's great. Exactly. If you want that, just draw it yourself.
Right? Because if you keep wanting to paint change my painting, why would I want to paint it?
Exactly.
So I decided, my sister loved one of my painting, unfortunately, so does my husband. So I couldn't paint it for her. So I just recently did this in 2 hours.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
All right.
And you let your own creativity flow. You don't force it. It just comes out naturally. And that's how I write songs too. I don't set out to write a specific song. I feel the melody, create the music, and then according to those melodies, I automatically get some lyrics that will fit that feeling of that song. But if people start telling me, oh, you should write a song this way and put that, and it's just like, well, why don't you go buy a CD, like you said, of the music that you want to hear, or just write it yourself?
Or go to Spotify and get whatever you want.
Exactly. So,
right. So
okay.
go ahead.
Gonna say, when you talk about your art, I can really feel you light up, and I can see that's something that you're very passionate about. Yes. And also the two pictures you just showed us, I can see the water. You must miss this ocean.
Yes, I do miss the ocean. Let me just show you this. I'll show you how much I miss the ocean. Look at all the paintings, most of the paintings that I've been doing.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You love the ocean, and you need to get back.
I need to get back to the ocean, but I don't know when.
Well, you know, I live right down the street from the beach, like about maybe like 3 minutes, just walk down. And so sometimes in the mornings at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's already winter here, so it gets pretty cold. But I go out and do like cold water treatments where I'll do breathing, and then I'll get in the cold water like at 5 o'clock in the morning. And people sometimes walking by, or the fishermen that are going by, they look at me like I've just lost my mind. They're like, did you just escape from the padded room or something? It's freezing out here. I'm like, nah, I'm good, mate. Everything's good. Well, listen, we got about 8 more minutes here. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up with a nice message from you. Take everything we've talked about, you know, a little bit of your life, like from your daughter, just your experience with fitness, your experience with the whole COVID, with the painting, and just give a nice, wonderful message of positivity and inspiration for those out there, because your message has already been inspiring. You lit us on fire, and that's why we reached out to you. So we'll finish off with that, and then what Kay and I will do is we'll finish the episode of talking about our experience with you. So this is your light to shine for 5 minutes to just share everything, put it in a nice package, and give us some love. Give everybody some love. A message of beauty.
All right. So I know that it's tough times for everybody all around the world, right? But my advice is this: there's always hope. There is always hope. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm going to tell you, the person who's shining the light is you, is yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's not anybody else. Because
Right.
in all this doom and gloom, if you can see the light, you get to it. But if you can't see the light, you'll always be lost in the darkness. It's like when my daughter got sick, Tony and I mean, we cried and we did everything. And we decided that we were going to be strong for her. We would stop crying. We would give her the best, medical treatment. I mean, she's okay now and back to school. But sometimes we also need to stop thinking about us and think about the people around us and the effect that we have on them. Because I'm a parent, right? And if I am weak for my child is even going to be more afraid than me. So I have to be strong. I have to be strong. And so, and being strong means, shouldering some of the burden yourself, figuring out a way of, letting it go, because you can't carry it all the time, right? And for me, I guess the letting go is the painting, the painting, all right, the painting. I think I'll show you this.
Oh, that is amazing.
Wow.
Is the painting, is the seeing the sun coming up again.
Yes.
And you know what? And sometimes the sky is going to be gloomy, but you know what? Think about this. Every time it rains, if the sun comes out, isn't there a rainbow?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I always believe our life is actually like the lotus.
Yes.
Wow.
Because the lotus grows in muddy, dirty water,
Yes.
but it never gives up.
No, it grows in super nastiness and yet exudes
Beauty
such beauty
and such hope.
and demands such awe.
Yeah. And you don't really have to take care of it too much too. I mean, once in a while you have to fertilize it, but some of it even grow wild.
Well,
but the food, you can eat the seed, you can use the leaf for stuff. And so I think we have to become like the lotus, because we have to grow from all this murkiness and become stronger and be that force to be reckoned with and be that strength for the people around us. And the only way you can do that is with the right mindset, with grit, with resilience, and finally with positivity and love.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go. Dude, Boone, I'm gonna sleep fantastic tonight because it's about 9 p.m. here, and I normally go to sleep at 11. I wake up in the morning and go to a high school and teach, and then I come home and do my garden and I teach English online, stuff like that. But it's been, for you to be our first guest, it's definitely legendary. And so what we want to do is we want to spread this, not for like a job or monetary thing, but we want it to spread because of the messages and to show that we can learn so much from each other now that we have this, and through hearing all these experience for people, and this exchange is free. So what we want to ask from you is, see, we put it on our page on Facebook, but then we also put a link on YouTube. And so what you do is just share it with your friends and have your friends watch the one on YouTube and put some comments on there. And if there's a like on it, then it can spread and other people can watch it, because that's the hope. You're talking about the light. That's what we're called, light bearers. And we all are those light bearers. And we can't keep that light under the mattress. We want to bring it out.
Okay,
all right?
Will do. So let me know when it's up. We can share it. I'm not sure if we can share it in the Bullworker.
Oh, we'll put it there too. We're gonna put it there too, because we talk about Bullworker. But anyway, yeah, it'll be up tomorrow. I put it on, yeah, I put it on the page, and then Brother K puts it on YouTube, and then the YouTube version, the link on Facebook, okay, just send it to your friends. And if there's anyone that you know that's got an awesome message, you know, they want to share their life and their experience, we'll have them on.
Okay, I'll think of people.
Okay. All right, Boone. Okay. Any last words to Boone?
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
Boone, this is a very lovely episode. It was very nice to finally meet and talk to you.
Yeah.
There was a lot of there was a lot of wisdom in your message.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's nice that we've got people, you know, we're meeting up Malaysia and Japan and Nigeria, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm in England. I'm from Nigeria, but I live in England.
Oh, okay. My daughter's there in London. Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome.
Oh, really, really cold right now.
Yeah, that's what she says. All right. Okay. So I'm going to be leaving now because I'm going to go for dinner.
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead. So you go ahead and clock, and then Kay and I, we're going to wrap it up together.
All right, guys, take care. Stay safe. Right.
And keep it jungly.
Yeah, I will. And bulwark, okay?
Yeah, bulwark. Okay. Laters.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Brother K. That was awesome. So I'm going to leave things with you, Brother K. I want you to expand a little bit on the message that she was given through her life, and also on the similarities of the things that we've talked and talking about the mustard seed and stuff. Just give me your whole give me a perspective or your feelings on today's podcast or guest. Go ahead, brother.
I think that was a very positive guest that came on, and you could see that in her life she's been through her own struggles. With having an 18-year-old daughter going through cancer, that must have been a scary moment, you know. And you could see when we was talking about fear, she was talking about her fear of going to the ocean, and you could see her love for the ocean. And you know, like we said, sometimes fear stops us from doing what we want to do, but at the same time we still have to have a reasonable amount of caution. So I believe that being cautious, you know, she said she had 80-year-old in-laws, so she's being reasonable with her caution and her fear of not going out. But at the same time, she needed to, you know, express herself. So she found her art. Yes. And that's the way so I believe the message for today is that we need to find our unique expression, something that's going to bring the light out of us. Something that's not got anything to do with the work you do, but it's just got something, just a creative process that you enjoy doing. And it doesn't matter if you was not paid for it, if no one even said they liked it, you will still do it. And that's what we all need to find. That's where we're going to find our, what's the word? Our inner peace.
Yes. Well, it's funny because we're going back to that. Everything nowadays has been turned into monetary exchange. So if, you know, we're talking about like if the apple is free, like no one's going to eat it, they got to go buy one, and realize, going back to get to the gospels, like look at the birds, look at the lilies in the field. Do they you know, they don't have to toil, and God takes care of them, you know, the food out there for the birds. And we've been so obsessed with this frame of mind because it's drilled into our head. And as Boone was saying, is that it starts in here, the mentality, the brain, the mind process. Once this is programmed, it's kind of difficult to change the program. And so instead of changing the just get rid of that fucking program, mate. Do you know what I mean? And find some.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, find something, as you're saying, Kay, that's an outlet or an expression, an inner expression, and take it away. Don't give a shit if you get paid for it or not. And that's what it's.
People comment on it, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
This is you releasing your capability. This is you exploring yourself. And
like you're saying, bringing that through that exploration, through that release, each person bears that light in a different form.
Yes.
You know, and it was beautiful, man. I loved having her on board. Um, and I hope that we get similar
Yeah.
guests like that, because pretty much I was just speechless, like, all right, yeah, this sounds awesome,
Yeah,
and
she had a lot of good words in her little appearance there, you know?
yeah, I mean, and her energy is vibrant.
Yeah, it's very vibrant. And when she talks about her artwork, you can see it. She just came into her own, her own energy. As soon as she starts talking about art, you can see her voice changes. She's got a passion for that.
And
And that's, I think, her expression.
yes, and as much as the creator or art is important, the receiver of that art is also important. They live a symbiotic life.
Yes.
And so why I was saying that is because you said, like, oh, she's really excited about that message. And me, sometimes I get excited to where I have to just kind of staple my lips together because a little bit too much excitement. It's got to be like a two-way road. But what I wanted to say about that is that excitement needed ears to fall upon to carry that message.
Yes. Because if you didn't have a positive receiver, they would have listened to her passage and passion and tried to kill it. You know,
There you
they
go.
would kill her excitement without even listening to the message. They would have just seen the energy. I thought, you know what, that's too much energy. Let me just bring it down. I don't care what she's saying. I don't want that energy. And that's what people do. They don't listen.
Yes.
They're just on a mission to lower energy levels.
Well, and that could be because also they might be on the wrong wavelength. They're experiencing grief, or they're not happy with themselves, and so sometimes we want to make other people feel like, oh, how dare you be so awesome, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like you're a little envious of somebody's awesome birthday cake, and so you decide to spit a big old piece of lung cheese on it, so that they also, but she's not having it. She wasn't having it, and that made me also like, okay, let me listen a little bit more, because that aspect is just as important. In my music, I'm happy the way I write it, and she's happy the way she draws. But the art has to be beheld. Art is not. Go ahead, mate.
You know when she said something, she goes, I was first trying to do my artwork, and then I realized I could sell it. And then she said something that was key. She goes, I had to stop selling it because people were demanding too much of the expression. They were trying to make me alter my expression. So I thought that's when I thought to myself, yes, this is really her expressing herself. The fact that she draws and she doesn't want you to alter it, she wants you to accept her expression as it is. That's really what she's passionate about, and you could see that vibrant energy.
Well, and because that art is meant to be beheld the way it is. Okay.
Yes.
That expression of that soul, as you're talking about, the expression. So if you can't behold what she has to give, it makes her, kind of wilt a little bit. Sometimes you just got to let a flower be a flower, and stop trying to groom it so much and just let it be, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just sit back and just go like, wow, this is awesome. And take part of that experience, because it's, as you're talking about, it's the flow. Everything has a purpose. That art is meant there to be looked at, and that person is meant to enjoy that art, to give them something. It's food for the soul, or whatever the hell you want to call it, mate. But any final thoughts, mate?
Let me touch on that mustard seed, because that seemed like
I wanted you to expand on that mustard seed, and also connect it a little bit with the lotus flower. I want to expand a little bit on that. So go ahead.
So, like in the scripture, Jesus was very popular for talking about the mustard seed. When somebody asked him, "What is the kingdom of God like?" and he said, "The kingdom of God is like a mustard seed, very little in size, but when it drops into good soil, it becomes a tree, a big tree that becomes a shelter for the birds of the air and the animals on the land." So a concept would be a mustard seed. A mustard seed could be a concept, an idea in your mind. And if that idea, if you allow it to go into good soil, that idea could grow into something that becomes a shelter for people, that becomes food for people, that becomes a sanctuary for people. So that idea, concept in your mind can be a seed, can be a mustard seed. And if you fertilize it, germinate it, and look after it, it becomes a big tree, you know, that people can.
Yes. Little things, and it all started from the little
From the little
isobo. Yeah, something so simple. Life is not that complicated. It is simpler that we make it out to be, yet that simplicity, that smallness, that size of the mustard seed, while so simple, it's so beautiful.
Yes, and the mustard seed is showing us the tiny size becoming a big, beautiful thing. And the lotus is showing us something growing. Remember, she said it grows through the murky dirt and it doesn't need much support. It will still find its way to battle it towards the light. So with that one being said,
well, adversity, you know,
struggle,
cold
negativity,
diamonds through pressure, you know, and so adversity, we have to go through that struggle of life. Eventually, either it's too much and it crushes that individual, but hopefully that adversity will shape that individual to bring out some beauty through it, to its true nature.
Because when it goes through the adversity, that's when it shows its real strength and its real grit. And after it's that stage, it has to be beautiful, what it will show.
Exactly.
It has to be.
Well, man, it was awesome today. We didn't get to the tea today, but we'll get to the tea next time. I can't be drinking tea at 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean at night, because I'm not gonna go to sleep. But it was an awesome podcast, and we'd like to send many blessings and cool mojo, a couple of kung fu snaps, right? And you know, like always, keep the energy flowing, the flow, to eventually get enough friction, create some heat, so that you can share the light with everyone, right? And as we always say, keep it jungly. Okay, stay on, mate. I'm just gonna go ahead and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and shut off here, and then I'll get in touch with you on Messenger and talk about changing this thing onto the, you guys get to hear what we're talking about behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All right. Right, the bloopers and shit, dude. Okay. All right, guys. See you next time.
Stay blessed, people.
Stay blessed.